Okay, I'm going to go through how I do my piston rings. From figuring the diameters to cutting them to heat treating. So we're going to make 4 piston rings. I might make a couple extra just in case I break one. I hope I don't, but you never know. So anyway, I'm going to go to surface plate here. And I went ahead and measured the bores, and they're pretty close to the same, both of them. 1 inch and 11,000, about 11 and a half. So I'm just going to go with 11 thou, 1 inch and 11 thou. Okay, and my slitting saw width of my slitting saw is 18 thousandths. That's 18 thou thick. So what I need to do is take this number, the ID of the cylinder, times pi. So we'll just take 1 inch, 11 thousandths, times pi equals, and that is 3 inches, 176.15, and that's as far as I'm going to carry it out. So that's the length of the circumference around now, so of that diameter. Now I want to add this because I'm going to add that 18 thousandths because I'm going to cut that with a slitting saw. I'm going to cut that out. So I go ahead and I add to this length 18 thousandths. So I get 5, 1, 14, 9, 1. So now my circumference with that 18 thou added to it is that number right there. So I take that number, 3.19415 divided by pi equals, this is the diameter I want to go for, 1 inch, 16.7. So that's the OD of what we want for our ring. This is the OD diameter. Now for the inside diameter of that, I want to have about a 60 thou wide ring. So basically that's 120. So all you need to do is just subtract your wing or your ring width from that. So that is what we want to shoot for. 896 thousandths. Did that right? Yep. So this is the ID. And then the thickness of the rings are going to be, the finished thickness is going to be 0.60. Actually 0.60 pushing 0.61. That'll give me about 1.5 thou of clearance on the side. So that'd be the width. So those are the numbers I want to go to. So I'm going to go over the lathe and put 3-jaw on. I've got the cast iron right here. This is nodular iron, cast iron. What it is the grains are spherical instead of flakes, and it's a little bit more, it's a little tougher material than I'm not sure what it's called, but it's the differences between the two are, one is flakes, the granules are flaky or flakes, and the other is nodular, is more spherical, more round, the granules. But anyway, I ordered cast iron material special for rings I think 3 or 4 different sizes that I have. So, but anyway, it won't fit in any collets that I have, so I got to put a 3-jaw on. So I'm going to go ahead and put the 3-jaw on and start turning up those diameters we just figured out here. These diameters. I'm going to turn the OD, turn the ID, and then I'm going to try facing them off at that width. Try to hit that width. And once I get the rings turned, basically all it's going to be doing is just basic turning. Once I get them turned, we'll go over to the mill and we'll take a vise and we'll just clamp them in the vise like that, and then we'll go through with the slitting saw and cut them. I know a lot of people just break them. You wouldn't have to figure these numbers out then, but I've done it this way so many times and it's worked flawlessly for me every time. So I'm just going to continue doing it that way. And as far as heat treating, what I do is I take a flat plate or piece of sheet metal, tin, whatever, and I'll put the ring up against it with probably about a 190 thickness, expanding the ring apart. And then when I take, and that's standing up, so that's standing up. And then I take and I dim the lights because that helps. And I get a propane torch and I try to aim for the middle. I try to aim for the middle with the torch, and I start a distance out, and then I come in and get closer, and that pushes the flame out. And once this starts to glow, and if you see it's getting hotter on one side or the other, just move away from it. Move toward the, and once it gets, like a cherry red, then I just take the torch away and just let it sit there and cool. Cool slow. And once it's cooled slow, you'll see that there's no more grip on that. I mean, the gap is widened out now. And then after that, then we'll have to put them in the cylinder and size the gap. So, but I'm going to go, like I say, I'm going to go ahead and turn them up. So when I get them turned up and parted off, I'll be back. Okay, I got the rings cut out and turned the OD, I turned the ID, and then parted them off. And I parted them off just a little bit bigger than a little wider than I wanted, so that I could come over and I'm going to break the edges. I've got some wet dry paper that I 600 grit is what it is. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set it down here. Set your camera down here, and just going to go on each side. Just kind of clean it up. That looks good. It doesn't take much. And then check. Oh yeah, it fits in there nice now. It was a little tight, or a little tight to start with. But I'm going to go through all of them and do the same thing. You can see when they clean up all the way around, if you look at it, they get nice and shiny. I say it don't take much. That one just about. There we go. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and do all of them that way. I ended up with 2, 4. That's one set, and 2, and almost another set. One shy of another set, but because I just finished out what I had turned. So, and I'll just, if I don't break any, hopefully, knock on wood, I'll have 3 extras here. And what I'll do is I won't heat treat them. I'll just put a tape on them and what diameter cylinder they were for, and because I could actually use this on even a little smaller cylinder down to a 1-inch and probably get by with it. So I could use them for another motor or something. But if not, I'll hang on to them. So, but anyway, I'm going to go and finish doing that on the paper, and then we're going to go over and I'm going to put a little slitting saw in the spindle in the mill, and we're going to run through and split these. And like I say, it's nothing spectacular. I just clamp them in the vise like that. Just beep, beep, run through. It doesn't, the slit, theoretically you'd like to have it on center line, but if it's off, it really doesn't matter a whole lot. You're going to come back and put the ring in and then gap the ring with a file anyway. So I don't know. I just kind of eyeball it to center, and I don't dial them in or anything. I just eyeball it to about approximate center and run it through. So anyway, until then, I'm going to go ahead with the paper and clean them up, and then we'll move over to the mill the next time I start videoing again. Catch you later. Okay, I'm going over to the mill here, and we're going to clamp them in the vise. So what I'm going to do is take a small drill. Just take a small drill. This is what I do when I have a whole bunch of them, and put them all on the small drill. Put them in the side in the vise. I got them all on a small drill, and I just kind of hold the drill kind of parallel up with the table, and then push and hold them up against the drill, and then tighten it up. Now they're all pretty close to the same height. Like I say, I don't worry about them getting cut right on center line. Now we can move you over here. Now we can move over here and put the cutter in. I believe it's a 3/4 shank. Take the collet out and get the right collet. Check to make sure. Yep. That in. That in. Snug it up. And then bring it down. I'll crank the table up. Crank the knee up. I'm going to move you to the magnet and see if I can turn you on the side. Hopefully you can see. Now I'm just going to crank this up, and I'm just going to eyeball it to, like I say, I'm just going to eyeball it to center. I know it's not going to be perfectly on center, but that's fine. I might have to get the other light. Try to get the light behind the camera though. If you can see that or not. This light here, when the spindle's down like that, it's hard to see. So I'll crank it up a little more. That looks like it's pretty close to center right there. All right, here we go. I don't take it all at once, I just kind of ease my way through it. think I'm through it. Make sure, just take the last little bit there. Okay, that was easy enough. So now they're all split. Now we'll do the heat treating. I'm going to set up an area on my workbench over there and try to set the camera up behind me or over my shoulder, and we will heat treat these. It's not that hard to do. I've got a piece of I used to have a little block. I'm not sure if I hung on to that for about 190, 187, 190 wide. I don't have it anymore, so I'll have to make myself a little. I'll make myself a little block to fit in there, and what I'll do is I'll open them up and put that block in between them, and then we'll heat treat them. So, as I get the block made up and the place set up, we'll be back. Okay, we're going to attempt to heat treat them. It's a little dim in here because I turned the lights out so that this would show up. I've got just a piece of sheet metal here, just an old piece of corner stiffener. I took and made a block, cut a little notch in it. Actually, I went 150 thousandths wide, and it's got a little ramp on it that I can push the ring on. Get the ring on here, and the ring is getting held apart, and I'm just laying it on the surface plate here and get it all so it's straight. Oh, do it again. All right, I got it on there. Slide it down and bring it up and set it in front of that plate. Doesn't have you really don't want it up against it. You want it away, just a little ways away from it, maybe 1/8 of an inch away in front of the plate. That plate is going to reflect the heat back. Okay, and I have a little propane torch here that I usually use for. It's just a stand type that I made, and but you can use just a regular old propane torch. You just come in here and you just try to aim for the center and just slowly heat it. If anything, you stay to the bottom to where it's split, and then you just slowly move it closer, a little closer, and you'll see it's starting to glow up here and down there. Now when it gets nice and cherry red all the way around, all except for down there, and then you take the flame away, turn it off, turn my gas off, let that sit there and cool, let that cool a little bit. I'm going to go and take and turn the lights on, the rest of the lights I can see. It doesn't take a whole lot of time for it to cool. I can still feel it's warm. But you don't want to quench it. You don't want to blow air on it. Just let it cool slow. It's still hot. We'll just sit here and wait. Just wait a few minutes or a seconds or whatever. I'll cut some of this away. Okay, it's cool enough where I can handle it. You can notice now the gap stayed apart. Now the gap is wide. Now what I do is I go over and I hit it with the sandpaper one more time. This 600 grip paper. I just put it down and I just kind of go around. I give it a half a turn, a quarter turn, and then go around. And I want it to kind of clean up all the way around. You can see where it's shiny and then where it's oxidized. That's pretty close, and then we'll do the other side. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now we'll take and we'll get the cylinder over here. And what we want to do is we want to put it in the cylinder. Before I do that though, I'm going to hit it with file a little bit. And I've been lucky so far. I've been hit it with a file, a few strokes, and got the gap set right away. But you just kind of push it together on the file like that. Work your file, and what I'm shooting for is anywhere from a 4 to 6 thousandths gap. I don't want to go any less than 4. I didn't want to go any more than 6. All right, so I hit it with the file a few times. Now I'm going to go ahead and push it into the cylinder. Okay, so once you get it in the cylinder like that, take the piston and just push it down a little bit. I thought I had it in all the way. There we go. Just push it down a ways, and then what I do is I go from the back side and then push it back up so that it's sitting in there nice and true and square. I just set it down and shoved it back down, and now it's flush with the top. And we'll measure that gap of the ring. And I have a 4th thou feeler gauge here. It's a little tight, so I'm going to take a couple more strokes off of that. So I'll just take and push it out of there. Trying not to drop anything on the floor. I got the dropsies today. I've been dropping stuff. So, all right. Well, I'm going to just give it. It usually don't take too much, and that should be good enough. And where did I lay the cylinder? Oh, right here. And now we'll go back to the cylinder and do the same thing as we just did. Put it in there. Sometimes it can be a bugger to get started. They want to flip sideways, and then you end up breaking them. Like this one. Come on. Why are you being such a buggard? Alright. I'll flip it over then. It's being a pain. I just had you in there. There we go. Alright. Okay, and just push it down just a little bit. And then tip it upside down, put piston in there, shove it all the way down. Now it's to the top again, and check the gap again. Still feels a little tight. I don't want it tight. It gets hot and then it expands and then it'll bind up. So, and actually, the ring will actually get longer than what the aluminum piston's gonna, or aluminum cylinder's gonna expand. So it will actually bind up. It'll bind up and score your cylinder. Well, that better be enough. I gave it a few strokes that time. All right. And push it down a little bit. Turn it around. Lay it down flat. Hold it down. Push it to the top. That's better. That's probably about a 5 now or more. Now the fun part, putting it on the piston. And what I've been doing is I start with the bottom one first. So I'm going to take the piston off of the rod and I start with the bottom one and slide it up, pop that on very carefully. You know, expand it and slide it up there. And then I go ahead and do the top one and put it on, and then when I go to get it into the cylinder, I put it in from the top side and push it down up against the first ring. And what I do is I've been taking a can twist clamp and just put really light pressure on it and then go around and work it in with a scribe. It'll snap in, slide it down to the second one, do the same thing, and you're set to go. I have the other one already in position, in there already. The rings are in, and they'll naturally have to be run in. They're a little snug, but that's okay. They're gonna seat, and they'll be just fine. So, something else I should mention, just in case your heat treat goes awry. I don't know, if you don't heat it up evenly, you can end up with an egg shape or out around ring, and then when you go to put it in here to set your gap, you'll notice it right away. Put that in there and slide it down, and then take it and hold it up to the light and just look around. You'll see it right away around the edges. And if it's out around, this one here, perfect. Not to brag or anything, but it's perfect. So you have to really be off with the heat to one side and heat one side up red hot before you heat the rest of it up for it to go bad. I've never really had one go egg shape. They've always came out pretty decent. Try to aim for the center, and if anything, stay low toward the gap when you put the flame in there. If you stay low to because the bottom where the gap is does not get as red anyway. So, but anyway, that's how I make my rings, and like I say, I've had good luck with them doing it that way. I think that's going to be it for ring making. I did break one when I was doing that first piston. I got impatient and broke one. So I still have three to go, and I got 2 spares yet, so I have 1 piston's worth. So I'll heat treat another one. Hopefully I'll get this one on fine. But yeah, you got to be careful when you're putting them on. They're tough getting them on sometimes, and but if you're just really patient and take it slow, sometimes a little oil will help too. I put a little dab of oil on, and that'll help too. But anyway, what am I going to do next? I have the rings done. I'll be probably working back on the crank and rod journal and get the crank and rod done, or crank and flywheel done. And then I can put everything on and get some bearings and try to balance that. I'd like to get it close to balanced as I can. If anything, heavy on the opposite side of the piston and rings. On the opposite the rod journal. I'd rather have that side a little heavier. I've found sometimes that tends to make it run a little bit smoother. Sometimes, not all the time. But anyway, I'm gonna finish up here. I'm gonna heat treat one more ring and then sit down and put them on and see if I can get it in the cylinder without breaking any. And tomorrow, go back to the flywheel and the crank. So until then, catch you later.